Hi, everyone. Thanks for hopping on the webinar today. We'll give folks a few minutes to join. We've got a few people that registered that we're still waiting on, so we'll get started in just a couple minutes. Thanks. Okay, I think we've got everyone on that's going to join the call. Again, thank you all for your patience. And welcome to our weekly webinar. Today we're going to be covering new Canix features. This is Victor with Canix, by the way. I've also got Emily from our team who's going to be answering any questions you all have. I'll keep everyone on mute for the duration of the call, but feel free to put in any questions you have as we're going through these new features in the Q&A section. And Emily or myself will do our best to answer those questions as they come up, either on the call or via text. We'll answer those questions as best we can kind of as we go through these new features. So again, this is a little bit different than the webinars we typically host. So instead of focusing on strictly one piece of the platform today, we're going to be focusing on a few new features that are either coming out early next week or in the very near future. Or they're going to be ready, or they're still in development and will be ready in the short term. Some people may actually have a couple of these features already on their platform. But again, we're going to cover everything in depth. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put those questions in the Q&A and we'll do our best to answer them. So we're going to start with going through the new task management feature. So we're going to be going over the process of creating new categories and tasks and also setting up reoccurring tasks and kind of show you what that process looks like. Next, we're going to cover the QuickBooks integration updates. So as some of you may know, we do have a QuickBooks online and desktop integration, and we're enhancing that constantly. And we've got some new features as part of that integration that we want to show you today. In addition, we'll cover our new live inventory. So this is going to be basically a customer-facing shop, which you can configure from your Canix platform with images, descriptions of your products that you can give access to your dispensaries and your customers. So we'll go over kind of setting that up and what that's going to look like. And then we'll move into company reports. So this is a really cool new BI tool that's going to help your accountants and your management either make business decisions or just kind of see day-to-day, week-to-week trends, so that way you guys can fully utilize the platform and start making business decisions that are going to be helpful for you. So again, we'll be answering questions throughout the call. If you want, we can save them to the end as well. So we'll have a few minutes at the end to answer any questions that we didn't get to. But yeah, we can go ahead and get started. One other thing I do want to point out before we jump into it, we do have a beta program going on right now that I'll share with everyone on the call. We're also going to be recording this, and we'll share that recording as well. The beta program, the beta sign up, is just going to consist of your information, and we'll set up a call with you and Emily, our product manager, to go over some of these features and gather feedback. So again, some of these are still work in progress. So feedback is going to be paramount to making sure that this is going to fit what you need, and of course, enhance the product and make it better for you. Okay, so first we're going to start with task management. So here on the left side, I'm under this task management section and our calendar. So you can see this is just the typical kind of calendar. We've got one task already set up for harvesting. And you can see we have a couple different views here. We can either view these tasks by week or by month. We also have a list of tasks that you can see kind of as a whole. So we're going to start by creating a new task. And so the first thing we'll do here is either select a category from the dropdown that's already been created previously, or we can create our own category to start with. So in this case, I'll create a new one called cultivation. And I'll set the name as pruning. So in this example, I'm going to set up a reoccurring task that needs to occur every few days or every couple weeks. It really depends on This can either be a one-off task. So in the case of harvesting, maybe you kind of have an idea of when you're going to be harvesting. You could set a task for that date. But for reoccurring tasks like watering of plants or adding nutrients or pruning, you can set up reoccurring tasks in this task management platform. You can see in that calendar view and assign to specific people. Cool. In addition, we'll give it a name and it'll also indicate what location this activity needs to occur. So in this case, we'll choose Area 51. And then we'll choose the estimated start date. So we'll set that to today. And then we can set the estimated duration. So this is how long we think this process is going to take. So in this case, for this location, in this activity, we'll set that to 2.5 hours. And then we'll set the description as pruning plants in Area 51. Perfect. And then from there, we can assign a specific user to this task. So in this case, I'll assign this to myself. And then we'll select this recurring task. And again, this is going to set this task from the start date based on the number of hours, the frequency that we set here, and the number of recurrences from here. So in this case, let's say I need to do this every 3 days. So I'll set that to 72 hours. And I'll set the max occurrences, let's say to 50. All right, so I'll go ahead and save that task. And now you can see I've got my task set here of pruning, and I can check out my month view and see when each of those tasks is going to be due moving forward. And you'll notice here with this first task that was set up previously, that's going to be a different color. So as you create categories, you'll have different colors to indicate different categories within the calendar, just to make it a little bit easier to identify which tasks are which. Okay, perfect. So from here, so if I'm the person assigned to this task, I've completed the task physically, I want to go ahead and record that completion in Canix. So again, I'll log into my platform and I can either sort by, filter by the week or by the month, or I can also see a list of all those existing tasks here. And I can select each one individually. So I'll select the one for today. And then I can mark that as complete or add any notes here as well. So in some cases, this notes field could be used for, if the task wasn't fully completed or there's one or a couple more things that need to be done, or just something that this person wants to inform of the next person that's going to be responsible for that. So it could be different people assigned to the same task that you would just assign at this point. Once you complete it, you assign the next one to that person, and then you have notes to associate with it that will communicate to that person what needs to be done, what's left. Okay, so I can go ahead and click complete there. I'll set the completed date as today as well. And let's say that took me less than what I expected, and it only took me 2 hours. So I'll go ahead and mark that as complete. And then you can see here, the date is now highlighted in green to indicate that that task was completed. And I'll see that same indicator here in the calendar view. So I'll see that check mark associated with that task to mark it as complete. Perfect. So a couple other things here, we can go into settings and you can also create new categories in this way. If you noticed before, when I went to create the task, I just created the category from that dropdown. You can also do that here or make changes to existing categories. And again, each one of those categories is going to have a separate color code just to make it easier to see. Okay. One last thing I want to show you here, in addition to this calendar view that we're seeing, we also have a list of tasks. So here under task management, I've got my task list that I can click into and see all those detailed task list, including the name of the task, estimated start, and estimated duration, along with the location, and then of course the actual duration, which has been set here. Okay, so that's task management. And again, this is one of the features that is still in beta. So we'll share our beta signup form with everybody that's on this call. You can sign up and then feel free. What we'll do is set up a call. And then from there, you can start utilizing this, this function and then provide feedback to the team so that way we can make it better for you. Okay, so the next thing I want to touch on is going to be the QuickBooks integration updates. So I'm going to click over to a new tab here. And again, some of you may already be familiar with the QuickBooks integration as it is today. Again, this is going to be kind of focused on the new features and not necessarily the workflow to get to this point. So before now, we should have the QuickBooks the QuickBooks already connected. So I'm using my demo account, which has that QuickBooks integration enabled. And I'm going to work from an existing sales order instead of starting from scratch. So in this case, I'm going to choose my 0420 sales order here. Now, if you don't have QuickBooks already enabled, that's going to be set up in the integration section here on the left. So under integrations, there's a QuickBooks Online or desktop tab that you can select and then connect directly from there to your QuickBooks. There'll be a button that you can connect directly to log into your QuickBooks instance and pull that information in. Okay, so as I said, I've already got a sales order here that I'm going to work from. And you can see I've got my order items added. I've got the customer selected, and I've got all the packages that are going to be associated with this specific invoice. Now from here, here at the bottom, now that the invoice is created, I can select Share Invoice, and you'll see a new option here called Create QuickBooks Online Invoice. So once I select that, it's going to open up a new tab, and this is going to be the point at which I'm connecting the corresponding QuickBooks items to the Canix items that are associated with this sales order. So in this case, we'll go ahead and let this load for a second. And a couple new features I want to point out here, specifically with the QuickBooks customer. So in addition to pulling in your existing QuickBooks customers from QuickBooks, you can also create new customers directly from here as well. And that's going to sync from Canix to QuickBooks, and we can associate that with the sales order if we need to. So as you can see, once I select Create, it's going to automatically pull in the information that I've already entered into Canix and auto-populate the data that I need here. So you obviously have an opportunity to update the information. So the display name may be tracked differently than the company name. Again, you can configure this and edit this information kind of as needed. I'll go ahead and leave it as it is. And we'll go ahead and create that QuickBooks customer. Perfect. So now moving forward, anytime I create an order for Emily's Dispensary, they're going to be associated with their QuickBooks customer will be associated with that sales order, with that customer in Canix. Okay, perfect. And kind of a similar process, similar function is going to apply with our items. So in the same way that we matched a QuickBooks customer to a Canix customer, we're now going to match our QuickBooks items to our Canix items. So I'll go ahead and select this option here. And just as before, this is pulling from our existing QuickBooks items. So I can select from the list here, from the options here, or I can create a new item and then enter in the initial quantity on hand along with the accounts that they're associated with. So in this case, I'll just keep it generic and say buds. The type is going to be inventory. You can see we have the other options here from QuickBooks. And I'll set my initial quantity on hand as 1,000. And then again, I could set those actual accounts associated with this item right here. So inventory asset, sales of product, and cost of goods. Perfect. So I'll go ahead and select that. And again, just like with the QuickBooks customer and the Canix customer, moving forward, anytime I create a QuickBooks invoice with these specific items on that invoice, the QuickBooks item, the corresponding QuickBooks item will be matched automatically. One other cool thing here with this show package details option, what that means is that's going to show the details of the package in the description of that QuickBooks item on the invoice itself. So if we don't have that checked, you can see it's just very generic. Here's the item name, and it's going to show the quantity and obviously the pricing. With that package details option selected, it's also going to pull in the item name and the packages associated. So the packages that were allocated for these items. So just further granularity, further tracking for that inventory in QuickBooks. In addition, from here, I can enter in an email address to have this invoice sent to. And then I can also enter any internal notes here and update invoice date or payment terms as well, directly from Canix. Okay, so now that we've got our information filled out here, we can go ahead and send this over. And then you can see here, this is going to be the QuickBooks invoice. We can click on that and download that invoice and have that. This is just going to be a confirmation that that invoice was created and sent to Canix or sent to QuickBooks. Okay, perfect. So that's everything I wanted to cover as far as the QuickBooks updates. The next thing I want to touch on is our live inventory. So again, this is basically a customer-facing shop with a link that you'll share with your customers along with a password that you can set to only give access to whoever you want, whoever you send that information to. So in this example, I'm under the inventory section and I'm under shop here. So this is where you're going to set up your virtual shop. So this is going to be the first step to actually set this up. So we're going to indicate what facility this shop is going to be tied to. And then we're going to mark that as enabled and give it a name. And then we can set the password here as well. I've already got one set up, so I'm going to leave that blank. And then we have the shop URL, which is going to be fully customizable as well. Okay, so from here, once we have our shop set up, in order to add products or enable products to show up on that, that virtual shop, we're going to go into facility data and items. And this is where we're going to actually indicate what specific products, what specific items we want to show up on that shop, on that virtual shop. So in this case, I've got an item set up that we'll go ahead and push through and enable. So I've got my Crikey OG bulk flour. And you can see this is just a new addition to this item section. If you have that shop enabled, we're now going to be able to update or create a shop listing. So in this case, I'll give it a display name. So this is the name that's going to show up on your shop. So again, just highlighting that this can and should be different than the item as it's tracked in Canix. It can just be the same, but if you want to show, if you want to format those differently, use different verbiage for those products, you can absolutely do that here. So there's going to be what's displayed on that virtual shop. So in this case, let's just say, I want to say Crikey OG flour. And we'll go ahead and add a quick description here.
Hey, Victor, it's a little small on our side. Do you mind going full screen on the browser in the top left there?
Sure.
Thanks.
There we go. Is that a little better? Perfect. Okay. So we've got a quick description added here. And again, this can include obviously description of the product itself. Also test results. If you want to include test results for that specific product, you can do that as well. And then we'll have the opportunity to upload a photo, a picture of this product. So in this case, I'll go ahead and select my Crikey photo here. And so this is what's going to be displayed on the shop itself, along with the description and that display name. So we'll go ahead and save that. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and update that. And now that we've enabled that as a listing on our shop, we'll now see it here under listing management in inventory. Okay, so under listing management, you can see all of the products that we have available on that virtual shop. And we can make changes here as well if we need to. So for example, if I open that Crikey OG, you can see this is the same screen that we saw before. We can update the description or the display name or upload another photo if we want to. All right. And so with that, let's go ahead and open our shop. All right, and let me go ahead and refresh this. So you can see I've got my product set up here, and I just added that Crikey OG, so I'm gonna give a quick refresh, and we should see that here now. Perfect. Okay, so a couple things here. As you can see, we have our product set up. And so this is what the customer is gonna see on their end, your dispensary customers or your processing and manufacturing customers. This is what they're going to see when they log into your shop. So they can see the active inventory associated with that product. So you can see we've got quite a bit of Bob Ross Kush, not so much Crikey OG, and a few other products that we have quantities of. Now within each of these, as they're searching through and finding products they want to purchase, they can click into that, see those descriptions that we've added, and then also add the quantity that they want to purchase. And the way that this is going to work, once we have some items added to our cart and the customer submits that, that's going to create a new sales order automatically in our Canix instance. So in this case, I chose a couple of products and added some quantities there. And now I can see in my shopping cart exactly what I've ordered. And so from here, once I've confirmed all that information is correct, I'll go ahead and select checkout. And you can see I have the opportunity here to enter in my company's information. Now, this will be autofilled after the first time that they create an order. So this is something they'll only need to do one time. And this is just in order to create that sales order as it comes into Canix. Okay, perfect. So again, you're going to be setting up the listings and enabling those listings via facility data, via those items. And then again, just a matter of managing those listings, uploading photos, adding descriptions, again, test results as well. And then once you have that URL set up, your shop set up, you have that password, then it's going to be up to you as to who you actually share that information with to view that shop, that online shop. Okay, perfect. So moving on, the last thing that I want to touch on here is going to be our BI tools, so our new company reports. So let me go ahead and click over to my other tab here. So this is something that is going to be enabled for all of our customers early next week. So this is something you'll see on your platform if it's not already there. So here under company reports, right below financial reports, we have a few options. So I'm under the sales overview tab here. So you can see this is just split out, and this is just cumulative data on what has been sold over what time frame. And you can configure each of these data points using these filters here at the top. So in this case, I'm filtered on the last 90 days worth of sales, and I'm seeing it on a week view. So if I want to change that, I can see that by month, by quarter, by year. So if you're looking at or looking for last week's sales or last year's sales data, you can filter on that year. And then also the delivery date. So the date that it was delivered, that's when that sale is going to come in, and we can filter that data using that. Perfect. So you can see over the last 7 days, I can see all my sales over the last 7 days or the last 14 days. And a couple of cool things here. So just some use cases to consider utilizing this data. So you can see what specific items customers are purchasing. So we can see sales over the last 14 days. We can see what specific products are selling the best. We can also see by item category. So that's going to be your item types that are tied to your items. So extracts versus buds versus shake, trim versus plants. You can also see sales by customer location. So you can see what county is the most profitable. So then maybe you can focus efforts on advertising and things like that. This is helpful to kind of identify where your customers are and maybe even where you need to do more advertising or more marketing to bring in more leads, right? For more customers, for more sales. Another important piece here, you can see by source facility. So this is going to be what customers are you selling the most to? And then sales representative. For larger clients, sometimes the sales reps are paid by commission, by sales. And you can split that up here and see all that data within one view. So you can see here, it looks like I'm catching up to Andrew Munn's pretty quickly. Looks like I need to hammer in over the next few weeks to catch up there. Cool. So again, some filters here at the top, time frame breakdown. You can also filter on specific item names, item types, customers, and see specific data for those data points for those filters. Okay, a couple more things here. So the sales detail. This is kind of a more granular look at the overview we were looking at just now. So you can see delivery date over the last 7 days, and then you can see the total sold inventory. So the item name, what customers they went to, and then you can also filter on specific harvests or sales reps. Again, just in kind of a grid view, less graphs, more just strict data is what we're seeing here. Okay. The next thing I want to touch on is the harvest production. So this is important to track, where your inventory is coming from, the items that are being created. So the total quantity of products, the total quantity of different items coming from your harvests. So you can filter on specific harvest and see exactly what was created from that harvest, and just see, which plants are going to be yield the most. In addition, turning that production into sales is important. So you can produce all you want. It's a matter of what's actually selling. So with this harvest sales section, you can see the dollar amount of each of those product types that you're creating from your harvests. So again, you can sort by, you can see the items, and you can also sort by specific harvest names. So one harvest, 1 week may be a lot more profitable than another harvest a few weeks from then. And you can see all that data within this view. Okay, perfect. So that's everything that I wanted to cover today. So again, just to recap, we went through the task management. So being able to create either one-off tasks or reoccurring tasks for your employees, your management, and actually setting those and being able to mark those as complete, and having that calendar versus list view. We also touched on the QuickBooks integration updates. So now you're able to create customers in Canix, create QuickBooks customers in Canix, along with items, along with creating items and associating those with different accounts within QuickBooks. And then, of course, the live inventory. So setting up your shop, and then the ability to upload photos and descriptions of your different products to that customer-facing shop. And then my favorite part, definitely company reports, seeing that sales overview and really being able to drill down on what's being sold. It's one thing to input all this data into Canix. It's another thing to have that data have a visual aid to see what is my product turning into. And this is really the first step to a larger kind of BI tool, these features. And again, this is all based on previous customers' feedback, feedback from customers, and moving forward, that's what's going to make it better. So that's why, again, I'll share the beta sign-up sheet with everyone that's on the call. And that way you can get your hands on these features and provide that feedback that's just going to make them that much better. Okay, perfect. Emily, is there anything that you'd like to add, or?
No, I would normally say so, but that covered everything that we talked about. Thank you.
Absolutely. And let me take a look. I don't see anything in the Q&A. Is there anyone with any questions over what was covered? As I said before, we'll share this recording with everyone on the call. and then also send over that beta sign up sheet. All right. Well, thank you all again for joining. Just look out for that email with the recording and that sign up sheet. And of course, you can always reach support at that support number 415-894-9884, or you can always respond directly in our in the app, either by calling us from here or leaving a message, or you can email help@canix.com.